All right, so it's been a couple of weeks since I posted that video about how we purchased 2 condos with our VA loan using zero cash. And I got a lot of interest from you guys. So I got DMs, I got text messages, and you're wondering how the heck I did this because you've heard differently. So this video, the whole point is to go through common myths that are not true and some really cool facts about the VA loan that I almost guarantee, like I'd put money on it, that you didn't know existed about this loan and the benefits to you as a previous military member or current active duty. So let's dive into this video. I'm gonna give you the nitty-gritty on all you need to know about the VA loan. Okay, I'm gonna read off my handy dandy notes here because there's so many things I wanna make sure I don't miss anything. But the first thing is that you can use it multiple times. Like, people don't realize this is a benefit you can use your entire lifetime once you earn the benefit to use it. So what I mean by that is that you can use it at one station, and then you can use it at another station, and then you can use it at the next station, and then you can retire and you can use it again and again and again and again. So there's no limit to how many times you can use it actually. Like, you could use it 1,000 times if you really wanted to, but there are rules, right? So number one, you do have to live in it for the first year or have the intent to live in it. So that's number one. I don't think we're gonna have 1,000 years, so that probably isn't gonna work, but just realizing that it's not something you have to save until one day or use an FHA until you retire and then now you're finally ready to use the VA. Like, that is just wrong thinking and just false information. So number 2 is the myth that you can only use it one at a time. That is incorrect and false. So shout out to my brother Jason. He's retired Army in Colorado. He owns a house with his VA loan, but he thought that he had to sell it in order to use it again. And that is incorrect. So just like you guys saw in my video, we're actually using it twice at the same time. So how does that work? It means that we just have to stick to the conforming loan limit that's in your county. So like I mentioned, in Hawaii, that conforming loan limit is $1,089,300. So as long as my VA loans total less than that amount, I can do it for zero down. But what happens if I go over it? What do? You can still use your VA loan. Anything above that conforming loan limit and your pre-approval limit is just a 25% down on that difference. So let's say, hypothetically, you own a home in Georgia for $200,000. Then you move to Hawaii and you're thinking, okay, I wanna buy here. I don't wanna waste my rent while I'm in Hawaii, right? That means in Hawaii, $1,089,000 minus $200,000, you have $800,000 to use towards a home in Hawaii, still under your VA loan. You do not need to refinance the first home whatsoever. So a lot of people just don't understand that and how to use it. And then fast forward again, okay, so what if we want to get house number 3 with the VA loan? Can we still have 1, 2, and 3 on there? Possibly, depending on how much you've paid off on each loan, right? It has to do with your mortgage balance. And then if not, maybe just refinance the very first house that you bought 3, 4, 5 years ago into conventional, because by then you have equity, and then that frees up some more of your limit for your VA loan. I hope that makes sense. And just a disclaimer, I am not a lender on this entire video, okay? I'm a realtor by trade and I work with really professional local lenders who know this stuff inside and outside. And the reason I can talk to you so confidently is because I've been able to help my clients and our own selves personally through this process multiple times. So it's real proof. I'm not just pulling this out of my behind. Myth number 3 is that you can use more than the conforming VA loan limit, which is what I just talked about, right? So if you go over whatever your county says, anything over that, you just have to put 25% of the difference that you're over. So I looked it up for Colorado. I think it's like $780,000 something is Colorado. So if you own a house for $300,000, that still means you have $400,000 or so to use on your VA loan limit before needing to refinance anything or do anything else. Myth number 4 is that, let's say spouse is killed in battle, right? This is a real fact of life and it happens. Unfortunately, what happens to that VA loan eligibility after spouse passes away? Actually, the spouses can inherit the benefit, which is such a blessing to our families. So it means if you are a surviving spouse, you get to inherit your spouse's eligibility, male or female, doesn't matter. And she can use that limit, he or she can use that eligibility over and over and over too. Like, that's so amazing to me because we don't do enough as it is to help our families that are surviving. And so this is just one way to ease it up, to say you can buy a house for zero down. And you don't have to be active duty, you just have to be married to one, okay? Oh, fun fact about that one was that more than 3,000 surviving spouses purchased a home with their fallen partner's VA benefit in 2015. Like, that's pretty cool. Unremarried husbands and wives of service persons who were killed in action can buy a home with zero down payment and no mortgage insurance. So let's just speak about that too, the no mortgage insurance. So a lot of people don't understand when you do an FHA loan or another type of loan that's less than 20% down that you're putting into your loan, you have to pay something called a PMI, a private mortgage insurance. And so typically that's about $300 to $500 extra on top of your mortgage because the bank is making sure that you're gonna pay your loan off, right? You're not putting down enough skin in the game for them to really fully trust you, so they add this PMI. However, when you do a VA loan, you don't have any PMI. So you're instantly saving money there because the VA is backing your loan, right? And so they're saying, no, we trust our military members and we're gonna make sure that they absolutely pay this thing off. And if you don't for some reason, you have the VA that has your back, okay? Myth number 5 is that National Guard members do not get VA loans. This is false, okay? So let me talk about this. National Guard members and reservists, they are eligible, but they have to have completed at least 6 years in the service and been mobilized for active duty at least 90 days. So that's kind of your benchmark, 6 years and 90 days mobilized, okay? Or if you're discharged because of a service-connected disability. Let's say you broke your hand when you were doing something, who knows what, that actually allows you to have VA benefits, which is pretty cool. So you're not left in the dust on that one. Myth number 6 is that you have a credit score requirement. You need a 620 or above, or whatever you're normally hearing online is false. The VA actually has no credit score limit whatsoever. So let's not to say you can have a 400 and get a loan, but every lender that is going to be working with you, their company is going to have a limit. So the VA doesn't hold the limit. They don't actually care. It's more the local lender that you're working with and their company is going to set some standards for you just to make sure that you're financially set and you have a good track record, okay? But ideally, what I see is anything over 620 is good. Anything over 720 is great. Fantastic, A+. The rates don't improve anything higher than 720. Don't go for the 8 or the 9, like you're good. So just keep that in mind. Okay, myth number 8 is that VA loans are harder to get accepted and they're a more difficult process. And that's actually not true either. I've heard this a number of times when I'm submitting a VA offer to a listing agent, and the listing agent is usually pretty older, like an older auntie or something, and they just have this misconception that VA loans are gonna have appraisal issues and they take longer to close and they're not a good fit for their seller. And I've even been told that the seller will not accept a VA loan, which is baffling to me. And that's just misinformation. So immediately I have my lender call the agent, get them up to 2023 and up to speed and say, actually, VA loans are the same process and they're sometimes easier than a conventional loan. And then we've been able to close homes for VA loans as fast as 21 days. So tell me that that is harder and slower than a regular loan. I don't think so. We are record speed because we know what we're doing and it's totally possible. Okay, the number 9 myth is that you can only use it for a single home. Again, this has to do with occupancy. So a lot of the times we think when we buy a home, it's just for myself and my family. But what if I told you you could buy a duplex, a triplex, a quadplex, a fourplex, whatever you want to call it? Absolutely, you can. You can do this with a VA loan as long as you are living in a portion of it. So the big thing here is it's up to 4 units is your max. You can't buy a whole condominium building, right? And you can even do manufactured homes, which is like trailer park homes and those kind of prefab homes. Those also qualify for VA loans. And you can definitely do a condominium, which is what we do a lot of here in Hawaii just because of price point. So VA loans with condominiums are totally A-okay as long as the building is VA approved, which majority of them are. And if they're not, it's not a super complicated process to get them approved. It just usually takes an extra week or so, which we'll catch that on the front. Those are 9 big myths that a lot of people hear about the VA that are just absolute crap, to be honest. They're not true. And we are constantly educating our clients and the people on the other side of the deal to say, guess what? It's pretty sweet and we love using it. 90% of my clients use VA loans and we freaking love it. Okay, so let's dive into some fun facts because there's some other things that people don't really know about the VA loan either. So number 1 is more than 21 million veterans and service members lived in the US today, but only 6% of them have bought a home with a VA benefit. Only 6% of 21 million people. That's crazy. So there's a lot of room. And again, I think it comes down to the misinformation. I know at work, people talk and gossip flies around and we take it as truth, but you just need to go to the source, which is a local lender who really knows this thing in and out and your benefit. No down payment, no mortgage insurance. We talked about this before. But again, if you are strapped for cash and you feel like the reason you haven't bought a home is because you don't have some expected number that you need to have down, just realize you can do it for 0 down. You can even get your closing costs covered completely by the seller. I've done this multiple times this year, despite the market. And if you want to pay your own closing costs, like let's say we're in a multiple offer deal, we can't always ask for everything from the seller in that situation, right? Beggars can't be choosers, but at least have at least 10,000, I would say, saved up. And that's gonna go towards just the closing costs, which are some of the admin fees that go through the purchase of your home. And that's gonna be enough to get you to the finish line, okay? Don't try to save up 3%. Don't try to save up 20%. You don't need all of that all the time. Number 3 fun fact is that VA loan rates are usually much, much lower, as much as 0.25% lower than a standard loan. So that's another win-win. When I have clients shopping, should I do conventional? Should I do regular? I have a lot of cash. Like let's say they've sold a house elsewhere and they're gonna use that to the down payment on the next one. VA still always wins, so that's a huge benefit to you too. Another fun fact about VA loans is they actually have the lowest foreclosure rates of any loan type. So again, I attribute that to just the education that we've had as military members and families to say we take our financial responsibilities seriously, and that's been ingrained in us. And when you take on a loan, you know you're not gonna default. It's a responsibility you take on to take this seriously. And just, I always think if you're active duty, like you do not want a lender to call your chain of command to say you haven't paid your mortgage. Like that is atrocious. So that just keeps us all on our toes, right? But that's no surprise here. We take it seriously. Number 4 fun fact is the loan cash out loan, or VA cash out loan, can be up to 100% of your home value in many cases. So let's say, I think you guys have heard of this, but it's called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. And then there's also, which is taking a loan out of your house, there is also a cash out refinance, which means you're literally just writing a check to yourself from the equity that you've made in your home. So a cash out loan can be up to 100% of your overall value of your home, whereas a HELOC is usually up to 80% of your equity in the home. So let's say we want to use it for home improvements. We want to renovate the bathroom, or we want to pay for your son's college tuition. You can do that, or even a new car. Like there's so many ways to turn on your house like a faucet and create like different leverage points with the equity that you buy with your home. So super cool. Fact number 5 is that it is super easy to figure out if you are eligible for the VA benefit. So all you need to do is obtain your DD form 214, and really you can go to your chain of command for that. I'm pretty sure you guys have connections of who you're supposed to talk to for eligibility, but that form is just gonna be sent to your lender to say, yes, I am indeed eligible. And then that's literally all it takes. You guys will start their pre-approval process, which is super simple. I've got great connections with local VA lenders, and so you just click apply on that link. It takes about 15 minutes. And just think of it as an intake form. So they're collecting your personal information. You're saying, yes, I agree to give you a credit check. And sometimes you don't have to. We can do soft pulls, which don't affect your credit score. But if we do an actual hard pulls, what they call it, it's just one ding on your credit score. So if you've got a 750, it's going to bring it down to 749. Okay, it's not something crazy. And then really the lender's just going to look at all your financial documents, your proof of income, look at your rank or your retired income and say, okay, based on everything that you told us, based on the debt that you have, if you have any, this is the amount that we can pre-approve you for. And that is our golden ticket to go shopping. So in all, I hope that you share this with a lot of people. Number 1, I hope you learned something on this video. I want you to hit that copy and paste and send it to at least 5 of your friends who have this benefit and probably don't know they have the benefit, or they're scared to use it, or I don't know what. But I just want to raise the education in this industry to say you have so much right to use it, and it's not as hard as you think. So with that, guys, I will see you next week for another video. Again, this is what I do day to day. I'm a Coast Guard veteran spouse myself, and I love helping our military members buy homes and sell smartly. See you later.